YouTube says it's gonna take like another hour to upload the next video, so I'm gonna do the next one, but first, look at this dog. I think I've worn him out. Okay, but you're here for the art. So this is the cleanup and finalize phase. Put my giant hilarious glasses back on. And in this little baggie I have a piece of a kneaded eraser. They don't call them kneaded erasers for nothing. The best thing you can do for your kneaded eraser is put it in a little plastic bag that keeps them from drying out. So I have this little piece, it's all black. I need to pull off another piece, but I've been too lazy to do it. The reason they're called kneaded erasers though is if you pull on them and knead them, you'll expose some white parts and you've got slightly fresher eraser that erases better. And I'm sure there's a better eraser I can use for what I do, but I haven't really found one yet. And I've been afraid to use the pink ones on the ends of my mechanical pencils, because the last time I did, like 10 years ago, it completely like destroyed this drawing that I'd been penciling. It was awful. So I haven't wanted to risk it yet, because I don't usually erase anything unless I've inked it, and by that point, you know, if there's one thing that will just make you curse up a blue streak, it's ruining something that you're almost done inking. I mean, usually with me, because I'm that kind of person, I will try to work around it anyways, or, you know, fix it in Photoshop, even though I don't know that much about Photoshop. I know enough to use the erase tool. So right now I'm just going over my pencil lines, and I frequently miss them. Once I ink things, it's really hard for me to see the pencil lines. So again, Photoshop is like my hero. That's part of why my finished works online look so clean. It's because I totally use the levels tool, and I'll try and talk about that in a little bit. I don't really have fraps or anything, but I will film my Photoshop process. It's so weird, like, I know you guys can't hear the music that I'm listening to right now, so sort of like I've got this personal soundtrack of a single Madonna song going, and you guys are just listening to me talk to myself into relative silence. It's kind of surreal and kind of funny. Okay, that should do it. And usually as I'm cleaning up, I notice little ink spots or pencil marks that I missed, and sometimes I remember to go back and erase them, and sometimes I don't, which is really annoying. So resealing this. And the next tool I pull out of my bag is a regular Sharpie. This is good for, like, I think you can probably see all this white space around the lines and stuff that I've left open. So this is where the Sharpie comes in handy. Fill in these little gaps and make the black space flush with my lines. And this is the part I kind of like. I know a lot of people don't like to ink, but I spent so long working on this skill. I kind of just sort of started trying it and I fell in love. And I really enjoy the inking part of things. It's just kind of soothing. And I noticed I forgot to fill in one of Wrathia's claws before, so I can do that now. So right now I'm just going over the edges. I'll show you in a minute when I have a little bit more of that filled in. Ugh. The Sharpie that I laid on really thick before still smells, and then I'm putting fresh Sharpie on and my face is so much closer to it now. It's not a good smell, you guys. don't do drugs. It probably explains the Sharpie stench probably explains a lot about me as a person. Probably killed a number of brain cells. I hope you guys can still see what I'm doing. This is the part where I get really close in, and I think you can see it over the edge of my other shoulder okay, because I've kind of got my arm laying over this canvas, this clipboard, but I don't know. Just filling in this edge by the smoke trail. Sorry I'm being so quiet, guys. This is kind of the part where I zone out in a big way. Okay, so I guess here you can sort of see by contrast where I'm filling in the edges and how much nicer that looks. So I'm just going to be doing that for the next however many minutes. I'm actually going to get this top part so it can be out of the way. So in this one I'm probably not going to do it, but in a lot of art that I do when I don't have a full black background, I will use this same Sharpie to do a really thick outline on any character. This is not really thick, but it's fairly thick. Maybe I'll do that in another video sometime. Because if you guys like these, I will do more of these. Just got all of the outside of Wrathia nice and filled in. It's time to do some of her interior details so they look nicer. So right now I'm filling in her cool lava crown thing. This is like a metal crown because that one scene in the comic she was so pissed off she was melting it, which was cool. These corners of her eyes and her actual pupils. See, in this one I've given her darker pupils, even though in the comic she has really light ones, because I like to think this is like a transitionary stage for the species of made-up dinosaur aliens. I don't know. I had logic. There was a reason for it. Also, the way I draw it, I prefer to do nice dark pupils. Because a lot of times I don't even draw irises. It makes things easier. It makes the eye expressions easier to see, at least for me. Can't speak for the rest of y'all. People in your two eyes most of you, I'm sure a couple of you, I have a few friends who are blind and who can also see well enough to watch me draw. Some of them are really good too. I know this guy who is like a surrealist artist, but he does everything in this really realistic style. His art is super, super good. And I unfortunately can't remember his username or what site he's on. I am lame. And I once met a painter who was totally blind. She did fine art. I have so much respect for painters because every time I try to paint, it looks like somebody threw up on a canvas. It's awful. But the funny thing is, like, a lot of my realistic artist friends say they wish they could do cartoons. And sometimes I really admire people who can do landscapes and stuff and like really good scenery and realism. And I can kind of do realism sometimes, but I don't like to because it's too boring for me. So I really respect people who have the patience to put in all those details. Also, doing realism gives me a serious headache because I'm essentially trying to draw things I can't really see. Like the detail saturation and the stuff I have to sort of make up as I go is really tough. This is the part where I see all these little mistakes that I've made and it's driving me nuts, but I know I can fix them. That's what white gel pen and final cleanup is for, and I'll get to that as soon as I'm done with this. And I sort of have a haphazard way of drawing things. I kind of just follow my eye and my arm and look for spots that I'm missing. Sometimes I sort of go in order, but not always. If that even makes sense. Ugh, my arm is getting tired from holding up this Sharpie at this angle. This is a really uncomfortable angle. Ugh. That's better. I hope you guys can still see what I'm doing. Yeah, sorry, I'm so quiet, guys. I really have sort of run out of things to say, and I'm kind of in the zone. This kind of ink work where you get into the fine details has always been really relaxing for me. It's just that time where you can sort of start to see a piece really coming together. See? Like this. It's looking better. I'm starting to like it a little bit more as it goes. And I will stop here and start up a next video. Well, yeah, I'll start up a next video on doing some of the rest of the cleanup. But you've got the basic idea here, and I'll see you in a minute. Cap my stinky Sharpie first.